Hey everyone, welcome back to Python code Nemesis. In today's video, we'll be looking at Flask-Restful and building robust APIs with Python. Let's get started. What is Flask-Restful? Flask-Restful is a Python library that allows you to build RESTful APIs using Flask quickly. RESTful APIs are a way to build web services that adhere to principles of representational state transfer, REST, an architectural style for designing networked applications. RESTful APIs use HTTP requests to send and receive data and typically respond with JSON or XML data formats. Resource. In Flask-Restful, a resource is a Python class that represents a single endpoint in your API. Each resource maps to a specific URL and HTTP method and defines the behavior of that endpoint. A resource can handle one or more HTTP methods such as get, post, put, and delete, and can also define additional functionality such as data validation, authentication, or pagination. Key features of Flask-Restful: API routing. Flask-Restful allows you to define routes and resources for your API using a simple and intuitive syntax. It provides decorators and classes that make it easy to map URL endpoints to specific API resources and define HTTP methods, get, post, put, delete, etc. that the resource supports. Request parsing and validation. Flask-Restful provides request parsing capabilities, making extracting and validating data from incoming requests easy. It supports parsing JSON, form data, query parameters, and more. With Flask-Restful, you can define request data validation rules and handle errors gracefully. Resource representation. Flask-Restful helps you define how your API resources are represented in different formats, JSON, XML, etc. It provides a convenient way to serialize and deserialize data, allowing you to convert Python objects to JSON responses and vice versa easily. Error handling. Flask-Restful simplifies error handling in API development. It provides built-in error handling and response formatting for common HTTP errors, making it easier for clients to provide meaningful error messages. Authentication and authorization. Flask-Restful does not provide built-in authentication and authorization mechanisms. It can easily be integrated with other Flask extensions such as Flask HTTP Auth or Flask JWT to add these functionalities to your API. Resourceful routing. Flask-Restful supports resourceful routing, allowing you to define API routes based on resources rather than individual methods. This promotes a more organized and structured approach to API design. Testing. Flask-Restful provides a test client that allows you to write unit tests for API endpoints easily. You can simulate requests and test the responses, making it convenient to ensure the correctness and functionality of your API. Create a Flask-Restful resource. Here's an example of a simple Flask-Restful resource. From Flask-Restful, import resource, class helloworld, which inherits from resource, def get self, return hello world, which is a JSON. In this example, hello world is a subclass of the resource class provided by Flask-Restful. It defines a single HTTP method get, which returns a JSON object containing the message hello world when the corresponding URL is accessed with the GET request. You can add this resource to your Flask application like this. So from Flask import Flask, from Flask-Restful import API, app equal to Flask name, so create a new Flask app. Now the API is equal to API of app. API.add resource hello world, comma slash hello. If name equal to main, then app.run. In this example, the API.add resource method is used to add the hello world resource to the Flask-Restful API object. The hello URL maps to this resource, so when a GET request is made to that URL, the GET method of the hello world resource is called and the JSON response is returned. So this was a very short article. You can try executing these two codes. So try having all of this in one file, saving that and running that with Python, let's say app.py, and see how that is working and how it's running. You can add multiple endpoints, like create multiple classes, add more resources here, more complicated resources with, let's say, some front end integrated as well, to check how it is working for the different routes. In conclusion, Flask-Restful is a powerful Python library that simplifies the development of robust RESTful APIs using the Flask framework. It provides several key features that make API development easier and more efficient. Flask-Restful empowers developers to create robust and efficient RESTful APIs in Python, enabling seamless communication between clients and servers. Its features for API routing, request passing and validation, resourceful representation, error handling, authentication and authorization integration, and testing make it a valuable tool for modern web services. That's it for this article. If you found this video useful, feel free to subscribe, leave comments, and like this video. Thanks for watching and happy coding!